There is certainly the oneness of ourselves with God, but more than this, there are three realities according to Vedanta. There is Bhagavan, there is Brahman, there is ourselves as Atman, as individual souls, there is Jagat, there is material reality around us. In actuality, of course, all these three things exist really in perfect harmony. There is a oneness between them. Even though there's distinction, there is a oneness nonetheless. For all of us in this world, we have often forgotten this. We have forgotten this oneness between ourselves and God, between ourselves and other living beings, between ourselves and Prakriti. We are one. It is especially when we come together in satsanga, like this, satsanga, that we realize this. What are we doing right now? We're all sitting here very patiently, some people on the floor, some people in chairs. Yes, we're listening to a talk, but more than that, we are replicating the divine. Right now, we are replicating that oneness by creating spiritual community. This is why spiritual community is so important. And not just in Dharma, not just in Sanatana Dharma, in every religion in the world. When we come together to understand God, to worship God, to meditate upon the divine, we are replicating that oneness that is akin with the natural order. So, community is of vast, vast importance. This brings me to what I mentioned before, making history yet again. What is missing in this world, almost more than anything, is precisely this sense of community. And when I say community, I mean very specifically a community of spiritual practitioners. Because we know there are all kinds of communities. You know, go to meetup.com, go to Facebook. You can find all sorts of communities on every single topic humanly conceivable. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about very specifically a community, not just of religious people, not just of religious people who share the same path, but more than this, a community of spiritual practitioners. If there is one thing of great importance that we have accomplished in the last 2 years, it is precisely this. There has always been a community. Again, communities are everywhere. But for the very first time, and many people know this because people have told me this by the dozens, for the very first time in this area, there is now a community of spiritual practitioners, of individuals who are practicing Dharma, who are meditating, who are studying the scriptures, who are quite literally changing their lives, who see their lives changing each and every day. And this is truly the great thing that we have accomplished. In this, we have indeed made history, and we're going to continue to. These classes, these satsanghas, and more, this experience that people have had of spiritual growth here in Omaha is, again, the most important thing that has happened. It's something that cannot stop. It's something that has to continue. And this is our goal. We are indeed going to be starting an ashram here. And it's going to be an ashram in which we will have spiritual practice. It is an ashram in which we are going to continue with classes. We're going to continue with satsanga. And this ashram, this center, this facility, is going to be focused on this one thing and this one thing alone. Not doing pujas, not having cultural programs. What we are going to focus on is only this one thing. If a person wants to know God, they can come and know God. That simple. If a person wants to make spiritual progress in some way, if a person wants to better themselves spiritually, philosophically, in some way, they can come to this ashram that we are going to start, and they can do just that. So this is going to be very specifically a place of practice. A place of practice. So that's the goal. We will have this ashram by the fall. That's also the goal. And the goal of this ashram is to do two things. Certainly to focus on the individuals who are here in person, in Omaha, in Nebraska, all throughout this area, Iowa, etc. But more than this, the goal is to make this truly a world resource, a global facility the likes of which has not existed in America. We're hoping that this will indeed become one of the centers of Dharma in this nation. You know, it's interesting. When I first got here, and I did my very first satsang at the Om Center, and again, this was about 2 years ago. I know Sudhir was there. Several of the people who are here now actually were there at my very first satsang. Sudhir Kalra, very specifically, I don't know if you remember this, but you asked me at the very first satsang that I did at the Om Center 2 years ago, you asked me, why Omaha? Acharyaji, why did you come here? Why Omaha? And what did I say? Because this will be the Dharma center of the nation. And I repeated that to many people. Some people got it, some people understood. Some people gave me a quizzical look, like, Omaha? Really? Omaha? The Dharma center of the nation? How is that possible? There are only a certain number of people here who are interested. And I explained, no, people will come here from throughout the world. This facility that we're going to start, this ashram that we're going to start, in addition to helping people spiritually, personally, also has another goal, and that is this, the grander goal. Dharma, globally, is in trouble. It needs to be saved. We need to save Dharma. Otherwise, it will indeed disappear from our sight. Oh, Dharma itself doesn't disappear, of course, we know that. But it will disappear from our sight to the point where we will not be able to reach up and reach it anymore. We cannot allow this to happen. In order for Dharma to not disappear, we need a place where Dharma is alive. Again, not just in a vast collection of books in a nice library that we'll have there in the facility. No, but alive in the people who are there, in the people who come, in the people who meditate, in the people who practice and practice and practice spiritual sadhana. Dharma ultimately lives in us, and we must never forget this. How do we see Dharma in action? And I'm going to end with this, because this is crucial. How do we see Dharma in action? How do we truly understand Dharma? How do we witness Dharma quite literally in living motion? It's by individuals who practice Dharma. And by that alone. You see, this is why the living rishis were so important. This is why the guru is so important, the acharya, the sadhu, the individual who practices Dharma. How do we know Dharma? You read the Ramayana and you look at the life of Sri Rama. How do you know Dharma? You find a sadhu and you just watch, and you just listen, and you stop talking, and you observe, and you will become awake. So our goal is indeed to create individuals who are living Dharma in such a way that the entire world will become inspired. The entire world will become inspired to revive Dharma again and to practice Dharma perfectly. So that's our goal in a very small nutshell. And with that, I want to thank you all again very much for coming here today, for being with us.
भगवान श्रीमान नारायण की
जय।
युग अवतार श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण की
जय।
सनातन विश्व धर्म की
जय।
ओमाहा धर्म क्षेत्र की
जय।
ओमाहा धर्म आश्रम की
जय।
इंटरनेशनल सनातन धर्म सोसाइटी की
जय।
महाजगत गुरु श्री धर्म प्रवक्त आचार्य जी की
जय।